Let's take off and explore all the capital cities of the world using guides and maps. So here's our capital cities of the world guide that we've imported into maps. And you can get this off the Apple Education community. It should be in a note within the post that you can download and then install into your maps. So you can pull up the side panel and we can sort by name or by date added. I'm going to keep it sorted by name. We can scroll through our capital cities of the world list and tap on any of the capital cities to select and go to that city. Or tap on one of the cities on the map to go to that city. Now I'm going to scroll through the list a bit and find London. Now I've tapped on London and I can see it highlight on my map. I'm going to use 2 fingers to pinch and zoom in to see London better. Now I can see I'm in London. I'm going to tap on my map icon in the top right and we're going to look at either Explore or Satellite mode. Let's stick with Explore for the moment. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and I can see some interesting things around here like Tower of London, the Shard and Tower Bridge. I'm going to minimize my side panel a little bit. I can take a screenshot of this map by swiping my finger up from the bottom left corner on a diagonal. I can tap Done in the top left and save to photos. I'm going to click on my 3 dots in the top center, find my Keynote, and here's my capital cities of the world Keynote worksheet. I've got Explore 2D, and I'm going to change my capital city name by triple tapping to select all the words and typing in London. Then I can fill in the population, the elevation, the area, and I can find out some facts about London. I can use my maps to help me with that. It's got some information about London that I could type in here. I'm going to use my image placeholder and select Choose Photo to find my screenshot of London, and it will be added straight into the placeholder. I can double tap and use my zoom slider to zoom in or out to zoom more into that map if I like, and then use my finger to move it into place. I also have another image placeholder that I could add an image of London. I can use maps and have a look at some of the pictures included, or I can use a Creative Commons website like Pexels. There's another instruction in the top corner asking me to locate the city on my 3D map and add a pin. If I'm not quite sure where London is, I'll use my maps and pinch to zoom all the way out and see if I can find it roughly where it's sitting on the world. Then what I can do is in my Keynote, I can use those little ring arrows and turn around my 3D shape until I can roughly see where London is sitting. I think it's about there, so I'll drag the pin and place it on my map. Then I can zoom out and I can finish filling in the rest of this worksheet. Now we've done Explore 2D, how about Explore 3D and the rest of the different features in maps? Let's have a look at them. So back into my maps, I will tap on the map icon and choose Satellite. Now I'm in satellite mode and I'm going to zoom back into London and I'm going to tap 3D in the top right. Now this is a really cool feature. It lets us see London and lots of other cities in 3D. I can zoom right in and use 2 fingers and twist around the screen. I can also take a screenshot, save that to my photos, and I'm going to add that into my worksheet later on. Now this is really interesting for students to have an explore of the different cities. And you can take multiple screenshots of different areas or different landmarks within that city. So students can spend some time exploring the 3D features in maps, moving around through the city and finding some different landmarks or even some interesting buildings, and then taking some screenshots, and then they can decide what ones they like better to add into their Keynote worksheet. Now as I'm moving around, I've noticed Shakespeare's Theatre, and that's really interesting, especially for English and drama students. I can zoom right in and take a screenshot. Now I've moved over to Buckingham Palace. If you notice any grey areas, it's just because the data is loading. So you might need to zoom out or just pause and let your map catch up and load. Alright, so here's Buckingham Palace. I'm going to tap on my little globe again and I'm going to move from satellite to explore mode. And this will now be explore in 3D. So I needed to change from explore to satellite and choose 3D. And then I went back in and I chose explore. And we're already in 3D, and you can see that Maps has this new feature where it has these really cool little 3D buildings of particular landmarks with quite a lot of detail in there. So we can take some screenshots of those and add those into our worksheets. We can also see the whole city is in 3D as well, but as I start to move around, I can really see those landmarks in quite a lot of detail. And it's really interesting again to explore things like we've got the London Eye here, trying to find maybe some different palaces as well around London. Maybe I'll go back to Shakespeare's Theatre and see what that looks like in my Explore 3D mode. And we can see there's quite a lot of detail in this one. It's looking really cool. So I think I'll take a screenshot of this and I'll probably add this into my worksheet later on. Now I'm going to use a mode called Look Around. And next to the side panel, I can see some little binoculars. I'm going to find an area that I want to use Look Around for. So I'm going to zoom in and find the gherkin and then tap on those binoculars and a small panel should appear that will have your Look Around mode in there. Now this looks like I'm really in London right now and I can see what the gherkin looks like from street level. I will minimize my side panel and I can use 2 fingers to move around through the map, and I can pull up to have a look at the tops of the buildings, move around and have a look at some of the different elements that are on that street. If I want to move to a particular spot, double tap and your map will kind of drive you down the street. And I can keep double tapping in different spots and keep moving down the street. And then I'll appear right in front of that building. And I can zoom all the way up and have a look at what it looks like, move around the city and see what it looks like even though I'm on the other side of the world. So I think this is pretty cool for another screenshot. So maybe I'll zoom out a little bit. So I've got my 3D Explore mode as well as my Look Around in a little panel next to it. So this is a really cool shot. I'll take a screenshot and then save that one to my photos. Alright, I'm going to get out of this and then I'm going to go back to London and I can see another option that says flyover. And this is really cool. It gives us like a drone flyover of the whole city. You might just have to let this one load for a second. And then for my worksheet, what I could do is a screen recording. So if I go to my control center, my screen recording is already on. I can tap in the bottom left corner and then I can tap to start my tour. And I've got this really cool little drone flyover that's going over the city. And as I get to the different landmarks, it will tell me what different things are. So there's many uses that we can have the flyover mode for. You can pause and resume the flyover at any time and you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing. So you might just want to screen record a particular part of this. Alright, let's go into a little bit of a hidden feature now, the AR/VR mode. And this is only available on your iPad. Everything else that we've been looking at can be done on iPad and Mac. Now I've gone back to London, tapped back on my map icon and chosen satellite. And I'm gonna try and zoom in as far as I possibly can by using my 2 fingers to pinch on the screen and then tap on 3D. Now this might take a little bit of playing around with, but try and pinch and zoom in as far as you possibly can. And then what you want to do is get 2 fingers on your screen and slide up and you go into this VR AR mode. which is similar to the flyover, but it's not pre-recorded. So now we kind of get a lay of the land of the city, and we get a big scope overview, not just of the city, but as we start to turn around all the surrounding suburbs as well. And again, don't worry if you have some grey areas in the background, there'll just be a little bit of data coming through to load this up. And you can pinch again to twist and turn around your map and really start to see that 3D view, almost like a bird's eye view of the city. Another great way to screen record, and you can create your own flyover and go to your own landmarks rather than just using the pre-recorded flyover. So this is a really interesting hidden feature in maps, and try and explore it, and don't forget to swipe 2 fingers up the map to turn it into the VR AR mode. Now I've gone back to my Capital Cities of the World guide, and I'm still in satellite 3D mode, but I've zoomed all the way out so I can see the whole globe. This is a great one to do with students. I'm just going to minimize my side panel. And then I start to ask the students what can they see on this map as we start to spin the map around. And we can see in real time what cities are in daylight and what cities have nighttime. As you work through the keynote, how are you going to know what city has what feature available? So for example, if I tap on Ottawa, I can see that I don't have the flyover mode. So if I wanted to look at a particular city and create a screen recording for that slide in my keynote, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I can see that Washington also doesn't have the flyover mode. So if I go to Mexico City, I can see that also doesn't have the flyover. I'm going to move around the world a little bit, go to Canberra in Australia, and I can see I do have flyover mode here. So how am I going to find out what cities have what feature? What I can do is go to Safari, and there is something called iOS and iPadOS feature availability. And that will show me all the features that are available on my iPhone and also on my iPad. So if I go here to iOS and iPadOS 17 feature availability, and I can see different things like accessibility and Apple Pencil, and if I keep going down, I should find Maps, and it will show me all of the different things that are available in Maps. And if I scroll down, I can choose Flyover, and it shows me all the different cities that Flyover is available in. That's a really handy guide to direct student workflow. Now, have students explore many different cities around the world. Maybe they can tell you where they're from, their parents, guardians, their grandparents, other family and friends, and everyone in the class can explore some of those different cities together. So I might go off to Paris, I can do my flyover, I might do a screen recording, and then I can drop it onto the different slides of my keynote. And by the end of the lesson, I should have different cities using all the different modes with my Capital World of the City guide.